Welcome to episode 10 of True Untold Nightmares. I'm your host, Chris Moss, and today's episode is very special because I've had my first eyewitness come onto the show to tell about their encounter. His name is Michael. He's from Crowley, Louisiana. This was my very first interview because I'm 10 episodes in, new to the whole paranormal podcasting. So this is my first interview. I was nervous, as you could probably tell when you listen to this phone conversation, but he was great. I loved talking to Michael, loved having Michael on the show. Shout out to Michael from Crowley, Louisiana. I do have a timestamp for when he starts his encounter story down in the description below, because for the first few minutes, like 12 or so minutes, we just started talking about Dogman and Bigfoot and other things. So we were kind of all over the place, but I had a couple more questions, probably about 3 more questions I wanted to ask him, but I know that he ordered his pizza and he was probably hungry, so I didn't want to hold him up from dinner. And he emailed me some pictures to include in the video, so I'm gonna put those pictures up, a picture of his dog, a picture of the railroad tracks of where he was at. And it was nice to have somebody come on and, share their story and for us to discuss a little bit. And I hope this Michael encourages other people to come on to the show, to call in and tell their story, and we can have a discussion. I don't want to think of it as an interview of me just asking questions and they answer. I want to think of it as like a discussion. So you call in, you tell, you share your encounter, and then we'll discuss. And with that said, don't forget to join the Facebook group if you're on Facebook. The link to that will be in the description below. Also, I can't wait. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers, because I forgot that once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I can actually make announcements on YouTube, like I would on Facebook. I can do it on YouTube. So the road to 1,000 starts. Well, it's been started, but you know what I mean. So once we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to make announcements and ask you guys questions, hold polls and stuff like that. It'll be more interactive. So join the Facebook group, subscribe to the channel, and send me your stories and encourage other people to send in their stories. The more we share and the more we discuss, the more we'll be able to piece together this weird puzzle. Oh, and before I get to my discussion with Michael, outside of his encounter, he also shares things that he's been told by park rangers and law enforcement, and a story about a dog man, a story that he was told about how a dog man was trying to rip the doors off the back of an ambulance. Lots of crazy stuff out there in the world. But without further ado, my first discussion with my first special guest, Michael from Crowley, Louisiana. Hey, how you doing, Michael?
Okay.
I was wondering before we, get started, would you like to use your real name, or did you want to stay
That's fine by me, bro. I was the number of bars on this phone, and it's down to like the last chink. I should let this thing charge for at least 20 minutes, and you can use my name if you want. I've used it before. I was a DJ back in the 80s when I got out of the military on the radio, so I'm not shy.
All right.
It's still, I'm still kind of terrified about that incident. I can't believe that stuff exists.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you everything I know and what I found out and the stories I've heard. It's just unbelievable. And the wildlife people here, they know about the Dogman.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Exclusively do know, and they say, sir, don't go back to where you were at.
Mm.
The Federal Bureau SWAT mobiles and come out and kill them off.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they went after I told him.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. It's something you don't ever forget.
I bet. So. But before we start talking about your encounter, how are you? Like, how are you doing? How was your day?
I'm a veteran, and today is the first day they sent me a VA compensation to the bank. I was so thrilled. I was, thank you, Jesus. Finally get something,
Yeah.
I'm already kind of deaf and my eyes are going bad blind. I use them. I'm holding a magnifying glass in my hand, and plus they they want to put you on all kind of drugs, which I know would kill me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't take all their schizophrenic drugs. I
Yeah,
know
no.
better. I study each one. I'm okay. I'm blessed greatly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm 60 years old. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you for your service. I definitely have
Well, you're
family.
welcome.
I have family that served in the military. My dad's currently in the Air Force. My grandfather was
Come
in
on.
the Army.
I was a mechanic, jet aircraft mechanic at Ramstein Air Force Base. I have a tin roof now. If it drops, that's why. I
Okay.
just got a tin roof. I'm plugging the phone in. Okay, I just plugged. I didn't recognize your number, but I noticed you had just called me.
Yeah, I thought about it after I called you that I should have let you know what number I would be calling from. You're my first interview ever,
Really?
because I'm new to this podcast thing, the
Uh
paranormal
huh.
podcast. I'm only 9 episodes in, so you're the first person to come on and tell their story.
Really? I'll be
Yeah.
delighted. You don't have to make it terribly long, but I tell you what you're gonna get, is straight up, and
Mm-hmm.
people should be aware. A lot of people. I've done my research in the last 10 years, and people that end up missing. That's probably about 50% of the reason people come up missing in big forest, Bigfoot and dogmen. But they don't want to tell you that. They should, you know.
Yeah, and I believe that, especially after
Yep.
watching Missing 411.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. The Alaskan Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
That's unacceptable. 22,000 a year. That's way unacceptable, bruh. That's a major pile of bones.
It is.
That's too many.
And I
And
wouldn't be.
the government and the army are not going to. Yeah, we got a camp here and an entrance over there. They're not going to tell the public that.
Yeah, no. And I wouldn't be surprised if that number is triple that.
Probably so. Yeah. And the last guy I looked at, he found railroad cars that came out of a cave with dogmen inside the railroad cars.
Mm.
And he was so terrified, he ran back to his truck, and he never come back. I don't blame him none.
No.
Abandoned railroad track into a mountain in Colorado. Yeah, boy.
Man.
This goes to show you, you know,
You
they've
know,
had dogmen before,
right.
but people just don't tell you their story. I've come across people that have had encounters, seen them getting drinks or peeing in the water. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm sorry. I'm expecting a pizza to show up at any time from Pizza Hut for $52.95, Vernon. However you want to say. And what can I call you? What do you go by?
You can just call me Chris.
Chris? Okay,
Yeah.
Moss, right?
Yep. That's my real name.
Cool.
No fake names or anything like that. Nothing
How old
fancy.
are you, Chris?
30 years old.
Aha! You're looking uphill, brother. I'm twice your age. I'm 60. It'll catch up to you, watch.
Well,
Too
thank you
bad.
for coming
Yeah.
on, taking the time out of your day.
And where you calling from? What state?
California.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
I've heard of Dogman stories here too.
I believe it. Yep. They got mountains in California.
Oh yeah, the Santa Cruz yeah.
They got trees. You can still get lost in California. You know that.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I believe I had a run in with a dog man. Like I didn't see anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I've told this story, I think, on one of my earlier episodes. I think it was like episode 2 where I was hiking, to meet up with a friend, and there was this it was like a redwood forest, like really tall trees, redwood trees, really tall, really wide. That's like thousands of years old.
Well, I know where that is. If I think, because I looked at the redwood forest, that's history. That's way back in the days, 1840s, 20s. Yep.
Yeah,
No
and
kidding.
I just remember I was going to meet up with a friend because he went a different route and he was ahead of me. And I had my headphones in, just vibing and just walking. And then all of a sudden, the silence was so deafening that I felt, or I heard the silence through my headphones. Like I had to cut my music off. It was that silent.
Yeah.
and then I was just overcome with a sense of dread and fear.
That's like a wolf sense, huh?
Right.
Yep,
And
instinct.
there was a there was like a fork in the road. There was two ways to go, and I was going to go around this corner. Like the corner was covered, like it was this huge bush, and you couldn't see what was on the other side of the corner until you went around the corner. And I just remember just every fiber of my being was just, it's the type of fear
Really,
I've never felt before.
that's what I felt. It's like a weapon. The fear was so. I had a shotgun, and guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I was so terrified. My dog was terrified.
Mm.
That's the first time I ever seen that dog afraid of anything ever. He attacked trains, freight trains, before.
Right.
But this, he didn't want it. And I was terrified. Yep, I know what you mean, that fear. Did you see something?
No, that's the thing, because I had this overwhelming sense of, I don't know if it was like telepathic message or what, or my self-conscious protecting me, but something literally told me, don't you step around this corner.
Wow, that's good. It could have been your guardian angels, the Holy Spirit.
Right.
They don't want you to die. It's your turn to get shredded, huh?
Exactly. And
Awful.
yeah, in the comments, when people listen to the episode, some people like, yeah, it was more likely either Dogman or Bigfoot. And
Mm-hmm.
their theory is that Dogman and Bigfoot can give off a type of ultrasound,
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. They
which
can
is
give
where
off
that dread
like a
comes
weapon.
from. Right,
Their instinct,
yeah.
radar.
Mm-hmm. As a defense
And,
mechanism.
and you know it, huh?
Yeah, I've gone hiking for a couple years now. It's nothing new to me, but I've never experienced like that, anything like that since then. You know, that was the first time I felt that, and that was so far the last time I felt that.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like something was around that corner, and I'm just glad whatever it was decided not to show itself.
Yeah, I believe it. And learning from all I've learned, and I never knew these sun guns exist in the Bible, but look here, man. 7 foot, 450 pounds is not a puppy dog.
Mm-mm.
That's bigger than a big wrestler,
Oh yes.
weightlifter. That's business.
Yeah, that is. I can't
That's
even
terrible.
fathom that. That's
Shred. You'd be dead, no time.
because what, water buffaloes are like a ton or so, or thousands of pounds.
1,200 pounds.
12.
The small
Yeah.
ones are 1,200. We're talking 1,800 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you're getting, yeah, that's
That thing would just shred you and keep munching, wouldn't it?
shred you, and
That's
you
terrible.
before you even realize what even happened.
Yeah. I was so terrified because when I took a shot with buckshot, I didn't hit him right in the head and kill him, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
over his head, but he jumped up, howled, and ran back the way he cut. I stopped at about 50 yards from running and shot all my shot out for insurance. I said, "What if there's more of them?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember running them up, but you know what? I flew back down them tracks to my truck, bud. I beat my dog to the truck. Yeah, boy, Hunterbone, he didn't know what was going on. It's back to the house, I
Right.
told the state patrol officer after that. He said, I've seen things running in front of my car at night I can't explain.
Mm.
But the wildlife people said, a 12 gauge would not stop something like that, Mr. Edwards. Please don't go back.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't. And I know right where it is. It's just an abandoned railroad bridge about a couple miles out of town. But then I found out more and more,
Mm-hmm.
where these things have been sawed at right down the rails at a plant nursery years ago. They
Yeah.
pooped on the property and they scared the people. We're talking the same thing, dogmen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just strange, and there's so many reports. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Yep.
And
Animal and poultry, a pig ranch up North Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
6 months ago, they attacked a chicken ranch and a pig ranch and a cattle ranch, and they had to shoot at it to get it away from the fence. So there you go. And they said, just say it was a bear. Don't say it was a dog man. See, I got that report from wildlife.
Yeah,
So
that's
they're lying.
typically
They're lying to you and me. Why?
how it goes. It was a bear.
It's a bear, so yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the national parks, when they have encounters, it's only a bear because they want you to spend money going camping.
Right.
So if you're missing your children, oh well, you got insurance.
Man.
Yeah, that's terrible,
Well,
Chris. I mean, real. And I can't count how many incidents. I looked at Dogman forever. There's so many. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of stories.
mm.
Vets, doctors, nurses, school children, you,
Oh
me,
yeah,
everybody. Yep,
man.
that's
Well,
terrible.
for the listeners, I guess we should start from the top on your encounter from the beginning, because I know we jumped around a little bit, but because this is a really interesting topic.
Okay, I'll just jump right to it. I was hunting on a Saturday. I worked at a shipyard. Levac is on the Mermentau River. It's about a good 10 miles from here. I went hunting with my dog early in the morning. It was a foggy May morning. It was foggy. I had my shotgun and my hunting dog, Hunter Bones. It was a German Shepherd, and that's all he knows is the bayou. And we was creeping down these railroad tracks, and something caught his attention where he froze. I said, okay, what is it, a raccoon or a deer or something? We finally got to the train bridge. Now, this is all abandoned from the 1920s, and it goes over the bayou. And it's pitch fog, at 5, 6:30, the sun's not up yet. And this thing comes walking over the railroad tracks in front of me and my dog, and we're talking a werewolf-looking dog creature on his back legs, and I'm sitting there with a gaping mouth. I heard me say, "Oh, Jesus." I said, "What is it?" I thought it was the devil, Chris. I did.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had trespassed in voodoo land,
Mm-hmm.
And here's this creature standing on the bridge, growling at me with these orange eyes, looking at me and my dog. And my dog was so terrified, he just couldn't move. I looked at him, and he was going to attack it, but he stood down. Well, that fear factor that thing used on me was enough. I mean, I was terrified even with a shotgun. But I let off I had buckshot, birdshot, buckshot, and birdshot. I took the spring out of my 12 gauge. I shot right over that thing's head, and boy, he hooped and hollered and jumped up, and he ran back over the bridge. Well, I shot after him with birdshot when he was running.
Mm-hmm.
And I could, you have to walk on slats on this bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So him keeping you can mess up and fall.
Oh
And
yeah.
I heard him crash into the weeds on the other side of the bridge, which is at least 75 yards long. I got pictures I sent to you.
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah, and I was so terrified now I had to turn around with adrenaline flow and walk back across the one quarter of the bridge that we were on and hightail it. Well, I stopped and shot the rest of my rounds out. I said, what if there's more? I said, let's go, Hunter, forget this. This can't be happening. It was the real. It's like drama,
Mm-hmm.
and the adrenaline and the fear's all there. I said, hell with this, I'm gone. I had no more shot. I could have reloaded, but why stand there and wait for a pack of wild critters, that you think Satan to come after you and gobble you? Every movie in the world is scary until you have this encounter.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking at least a 7-foot tall, 450-pound dog, werewolf. That's what I couldn't get. Something didn't click. And so when we made it to the truck, we haul boogied home.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a state trooper at a gas station and told him, he said, well, we're not supposed to tell the public about these things, he said, but I seen things run in front of my car at night. I told him what I did. I said, I took some shots. I almost had me a dog critter. He said, well, best of luck. Call the wildlife people. And so I did when I got home. And they told me not to go back to that area. That's for the special federal police. If I see it again, give them a ring. But something didn't sink in for at least a couple of months that what you just encountered was real.
Mm-hmm.
South Louisiana, you've heard everything till this happens. And it didn't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
And they told me a 12 gauge wouldn't stop this thing. I didn't have no slugs. I had buckshot and birdshot.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, the good Lord, I didn't get killed.
Right.
Yeah, that was in 2009. And I tell you what, bud, I had never been back since. This here's 222.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't seen me back in that bayou with no 12 gauge and no dog. My dog's dead by now,
Mm-hmm.
Hunter. He's buried in my backyard, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, he was a free pup. I put him on vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
I used to let him listen to rock and roll music or jazz or Jimi Hendrix on the earphone. But, I programmed this dog to kill.
Oh, yeah.
In the bayou.
Mm-hmm.
And I let him, to a certain degree. But this thing, he wouldn't have nothing to do with this. No way. And I don't blame him none. He would have attacked him, I guess, but he sure didn't show no sign that I won't take his out. I said, what for?
Right.
Kill him. He expected me to kill him. But I didn't. And then why I didn't shoot him in the head, it's still a mystery to this day. I don't know. I'm just glad I'm still here.
Oh, yeah.
And I've talked to people, clergymen, reputable people, fishermen. We seen the Dogman. The Dogman's been in our camp, etc., etc. And I did a show with Brent Salway on Dogman Encounters when he was alive. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And now your show, and I'm glad you're making this aware because guess what? The statistics are going to add up again. People are going to become missing and they're going to encounter this creature in the wild.
Right.
Yep.
Now,
I guarantee you, Chris.
What has been the reaction of the people you've told?
They say, well, a lot of people don't believe, but a lot of people, all they have is folklore. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's all they have. There's some articles written about the Dogman in ancient bayou history here in Louisiana, but this here's in your face, bud. And they say, well, why didn't you take pictures? You know how they are. Well, what am I going to do? Say, stop for a second, say cheese while I take your picture, in the fog, and this thing's growling. And this is orange eyes. I swear they had LEDs shooting out of that eyeball.
Mm.
It's just, and the fear factor starts in your arms by your elbows and works the way up. It's just a primal fear I haven't heard in years and years, like a demonic fear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. I know demonic fear. That's what I felt. I mean, I thought it was Satan. I did. I said, oh, God, I summons a demon. I'm trespassing on ancient voodoo Indian cultural land here,
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, these things, look here, these things reproduce just like any other animal. They have puppies. They got to live. And the wildlife people know they exist. So that's up to you. If you come up missing, that's your trip.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm terrified. I'm a God-fearing man,
Same.
And I know the good Lord would, but I'll tell you what, there's no sense in yanking on something's tail, but I did ask a lot of questions,
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out they have federal agents. They used these creatures during Vietnam. They shipped them from Mississippi to the tunnel rats of Vietnam and sent these through tunnels to kill the Viet Cong.
Mm.
I met a man who was in charge of that unit. They run these dogmen through holes in Vietnam caves, and they'll kill 100 soldiers.
I believe it.
Yeah, I said, what? I couldn't believe that. That's just far for me to comprehend. I've never heard of a dogman until that. That was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way. It would not register. Maybe the movies, what's make-believe and what ain't, right?
Right.
I've had nightmares. When I got home that day, that's the first time I looked at a bottle of liquor in my life. I think I had a shot of wild turkey
Mm-hmm.
and put it back down because I never drink alcohol. But I did that day. And I said, cannot be real. And I was affected for a long time. I worked at it as a welder. I told people, they just laughed it off. Some of them listened.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them told me I was tripping and smoking crack and stuff. I said, no, I'm sorry. I know what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go hunt for it then, if you're so brave. So avid hunters want to know that. And it's a good thing you have this show, Chris, because people need to realize before you step out that door and go hunting,
Mm-hmm.
you better tell somebody where you're going. I always use maps before I go. But
Mm-hmm.
they're encountered, look here, this is only 3 miles from Crowley. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they live by the bayous, but look how close to population that is. See, that's why the
Yeah.
wildlife people question me so much, because they might have sent the federal SWAT guys after them. They're the ones, and they said, whatever you do, don't lie to us. If you saw him, you saw him. If you didn't, don't tell us you did. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So, but it's just something. It's an encounter I'll never forget. And I hear more stories of where they are. And there's a place called Dogman Island below Morgan City, Louisiana. It's an island,
Mm-hmm.
and the man was telling me he's a patrol boat operator, and they won't go on that island because the dogmen live there.
Oh
Now,
my
that's
God.
strange, bro. You live in South Louisiana and you don't catch these things to be looked at in public in a caged area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sporting's paradise and no one's killing them. So it's just strange. There should be more people having encounters and more killings, I think. You know, I won't kill for nothing.
Right.
But South Louisiana, why don't you catch these son of a gun? You know, as far as making a pet out of it, that'd be kind of odd, wouldn't it? This is my dog, Cletus.
Yeah, no, that.
Change that tire, he yanked the son of a gun off. 450 pounds, 7 foot. And the stench and the smell I didn't tell you about.
Oh, what
It's
kind of.
stinky. Plus, it's like a dead smell, a critter smell.
Mm.
You know, I worked as a dog man in a kennel,
Mm-hmm.
but this here dude, this sucker needed a bath forever.
So
And the
he.
evil, you're thinking evil thought. You say, what am I going to do? I want,
Would you say it
run.
smelled worse than a homeless person?
Yeah, baby, we're talking a critter that's got fur and he stinks. And it's
Yeah.
in May and they're starting to molt. And, God knows where this thing's been.
Right.
You know, yeah, it's just awful. And the thing is, these things exist. That's what gets me.
Me
You know,
too. I'm still processing at the fact that these things are out there.
right.
Bigfoot I've heard about since I was a child, so I guess I'm kind of used to hearing about Bigfoot. But Dogman is just it's like my mind.
That takes it. That takes the cake, don't it, Chris? Dog man.
It's like my mind can't
Werewolf.
even fathom, can't even
Yeah,
like create a
I'm
clear
still there. I'm
picture.
trying to get around that. Exactly. I can't. I only have the word of reputable people.
Mm-hmm.
I know my experience. That really would have made the front page news with a picture like that. Yep, for sure. It makes you think twice about going back out in the bayou by yourself. So
Going out into the woods by yourself, period. Even
yeah,
going
even the woods.
hiking.
From now on, I'm going to be looking everywhere. And the guy that used to, the federal agent said they wait up in the trees. When you walk under the tree, they jump down on top of you and shred you. Now you know where to look for a dog, man. They're up in the trees.
Oh my
That's even
God.
worse. And what you going to shoot it with? You better have at least a machine gun.
Sounds like the best you can do is when you go into the woods is either if you're by yourself, carry a weapon with you, but it sounds better to travel in a big group.
Yeah, in a group. That way you got eyeballs everywhere. And at least some rifles. At least a 10 gauge. I would think a 12 gauge is not much. 10 gauge with a slug is pretty brutal.
Right.
I thought about, in my mind, on my bed at night when I can't sleep. I said, well, how would I catch something like that? And my only answer would probably be like a cage with electrified cage, or shock him, and get him put up, subdue him. But if they travel in packs, bud, good luck.
Right. And I'm glad your story ended, with you living, because other stories I've heard that they typically don't travel alone. Where there's one, there's others. You just don't see the others.
Right. Exactly. Yep. That's what I've heard. They always travel in packs. Believe you me, I bring my rosary when I go hunt. My cross, I bring it. I just don't want to be a victim of something that is stupidity.
Right.
Like you're super Mohican with a gun and a knife, but it don't matter when the situation is right there in your face.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I was terrified, man.
You'll get snatched up, and then the authorities will tell your family it was a bear.
Right.
It was
they
a bear.
Knew I was on to something, because
right.
I told them exactly what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
They say, if you see him again, you call us, and we'll call the special number for the federal. I said, okay, you got a deal. No problem, I can't believe that's loose. You got people live out in the country. The whole shebang. Yeah, what's the name of your program, Chris?
True Untold Nightmares.
That is definitely a true untold nightmare. Yep, that'll
Oh
cause
yeah,
a nightmare. I've had episodes where I've jerked awake thinking these things are trying to kill me.
I've
I
heard
wake,
that.
oh Lord Jesus, please don't let this be good. Where's my gun?
Yeah, I've heard
Right?
of people having nightmares after seeing these things. Like they have nightmares for years.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the face, and it's easy to look at. Orange eyeballs. You swear it's LED powered, and the fear and the stench, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it just exists. I think if I was going to go about in the woods by myself, I'd tell somebody. I'd be prepared, right, Chris? I'd be
Mm-hmm.
ready. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You bet. And look here, I live in Crowley, Louisiana. So if you want to look on Google, it's
Mm-hmm.
3 miles out of Crowley, Louisiana, down Highway 90.
Oh
And you'll
yeah.
see some old railroad tracks. Well, that bridge goes over the bayou. That's where I met that thing. And
Mm.
there's the housing project not too far from there.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, an old doctor lives back up in there by himself. But he lives out in the sticks in the bayou. You can't get to his house unless you got a boat.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of a lot of critters hanging around.
It is.
Yeah, that is awful.
And I have
I've
family
been
in from Shreveport, Louisiana. So I've been in Louisiana a couple times, and it's you just feel like something is out there.
boogity, boogity, boogity. That's right. And you know what? I was telling you about the dogmen attack poultry and chicken and pig and cow report. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it. No, it was only a bear. Yeah, right. A bear, huh? They said that this thing picked up a pig and just jumped over the fence into the woods. Took off.
Yeah, I've
Oh
heard
shoot!
stories of dogmen killing boars, like full
Yeah, I
adult
believe it.
boars,
Really,
with
that's
ease, just
terrible.
carrying, have carrying the body over their shoulder as if it was a sack of potatoes.
That's terrible.
It's like, yeah, these
Uh,
things are solidly built.
yeah. Look here, Mr. Chris. I don't want to take up all your time on your program. I appreciate you very much, and to meet you. And I hope that a lot of people listen to this and use common sense when you go hunt. For
Yes.
sure. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
And do you have any advice for anybody that has yet to has haven't seen the dogman yet and might in the future?
I would listen to my subconscious because right before I met, I think something said something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That instinct the good Lord give you, you better listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be prepared if I was you, buddy. But I was with a 12 gauge in the fog on a bridge. Now, how terrified do you think I was when this thing stepped across the bridge, standing there? I would be ready. I would ask, Lord, is this a good day to hunt? Or should I stay home and play video games or do laundry or wash dishes?
Right. Because
Or is it a
this.
Walmart day? I'd be prepared. I ask the Lord, say, Lord, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Because look here, if you ain't God fearing, by the time you get in standing in front of that thing, you're going to wonder.
Right. And there are
Yep.
stories of grown men peeing their pants, pissing their pants
Oh, yeah,
after
I
seeing
almost
this
went
thing.
there. Sure. I believe it, Chris. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You bet. You're only human.
Right.
My instinct voice, I could hear the voice in my head, shoot it, shoot it. But I didn't kill it. I shot over the head, but I'd be prepared if I was you. I'd read some maps and ask some questions. You're right,
Exactly.
Chris. Be ready. Yes, sir.
It's,
Y'all be ready. And bring a camera if you want to.
that honestly, taking a picture should be the last thing on anybody's mind when you're trying to
I
survive.
wouldn't have thought about it. I mean, I would now, but not then. It was too
Right.
quick of an encounter. Yeah, it's just in your face.
Everybody says, "Oh, why didn't you take a picture?" But it's like if you were in that situation, you're focused on trying to live.
Yeah, I had my 12 gauge pointed at this thing at all times. I could have just wailed on him, but I didn't kill him. I
Right.
scared him off. But I tell you what, that fear, you don't. Even with a gun, you're still terrified.
Right.
So I would think before I go out in the boonies, I'd say, what if? So y'all have to research the Dogman online. I did. I can't believe what I'm reading.
Exactly. This thing is
Unbelievable.
it's just
Unreal. It's like Hollywood, the worst Hollywood could dish out.
and I think these Hollywood people know something cuz it's weird that they're able to just come up with these werewolf movies and create them. And people who have seen Dogman have said, yeah, they look like the ones in the movies, damn near.
I saw that. I said, that is the Dogman. He's got Arnold Schwarzenegger arms and everything, and he's drooling. That's him, the orange pointing claw. He got claw hands. And look here, they walk upright.
Exactly.
And they can cover some territory quick. Try to outrun that. I ran so fast. I outrun my dog to the truck. I went home. I said, no, Lord, please not this.
Yeah,
it just don't make sense.
Right.
You're not fishing. You're being tipped on by something else.
Right, and these things can swim. They can climb. They can outrun your car.
They could chew your arm off. Something. I mean, it's just despicable. I'm sure people have been found shredded. Or in pieces.
And there have been, because they can outrun cars, which is also scary. Because they have found abandoned cars on the side of the road with like the driver side door just wide open.
That's terrible. The people here, I read an ambulance driver here, he said, a Dogman, they have cameras, tried to rip open the back of an ambulance at a stop sign in Church Point, Louisiana.
Oh my God.
He said he'll never forget that. He said, I took off so fast, the dispatch did not believe what I was telling them. He got cameras on the back of an ambulance trying to rip the doors open.
Oh my God.
Shoot. So that's not just a everyday occurrence, but it happened.
No, yeah,
it
right.
Could be you. Yeah, I don't want it to be you, man. You don't want to be victim to that. Not your time to die. So.
Nope. And the government made sure that footage was stashed away somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure of that. I don't know why they don't want you. They don't want you to hunt and fish. Yeah, they do. They want you to hunt and fish. They don't want you to be terrified to go camping.
And spend money.
That's right. Especially in Louisiana, it's a sportsman's paradise. Don't mind about the Dogman, no problem. Yeah, right. You don't have Dogman insurance, so.
Well, you know what? Most of society, they won't believe in Dogman until they actually see it.
Yep, that's right. That's what my feeling was. No one's gonna believe me until they meet. I said, "Good luck with that, bud. Good luck."
Right.
Yep. I enjoyed your show, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, sir, and I'll go back and check it and see what the show is about, and I look forward to seeing other guests on here that should come out and tell you about their experience. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I hope you coming on here will encourage more people to come on and tell their stories. I know since I'm new, a lot of people are probably hesitant. I got to earn their trust.
Yeah, well, they're gonna check you out.
Yeah,
I guarantee you they will, because they got a lot of people that follow this. You remember, it's me, Mike Edwards in Crowley, Louisiana. It's just one incident. They got hundreds and hundreds of cases.
Oh yeah.
So they'll be looking to talk to you somewhere.
The emails of the Dogman stories I've gotten so far come from people who wish to remain anonymous, and they don't.
That's terrible. I'm not afraid to give my name. Well, at least let them talk on the show, right?
Right. I try to encourage them too, but if they feel safer just emailing their story and me retelling it, because I know one person that emailed said that she was working law enforcement, but she wouldn't tell me, what position. She didn't tell me her real name. So that's why she wanted to. You're
crackers, huh? They'll think you're cracked, huh?
Right, and she didn't.
You got to tell the truth, please.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for real,
and
you shouldn't be able to hold back on something like that.
Right, but there's with these men in black people, you never know if your job is on the line.
Yep, I was in the Air Force, and I'm not a blabbermouth, about UFOs and stuff, but I can understand the men in black.
I've heard stories about them too.
You can find out dang near anything online today, because whistleblowers, they tell their story, and then they either die or they disappear, and you're finding out, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
You just can't believe. Lizard people.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. I appreciate you, Mr. Chris.
All right, thank you. And thank you so much for coming on. It really means a lot. Thank you for the support.
You're very, very welcome. It's to you, sir.
All right, have a nice day.
You too. God bless you.
All right, God bless you.